Hey, yo, Ceddy Nash, remember we was talking the other day and you was like, yo, why he didn't respond? Why he ain't saying this? Why he ain't saying that? It's because the dude was kicking up some other shit. Now he's saying that you knew something about the young Dolph hit and you talking to the police because you a snitch.
No Other Way TV.
This love it make me wanna go back because it came from a time machine. I swear this loving is a throwback because it came from a time machine. All the things you did to make it right.
Hey, yo, we back. I don't know what's going on, but I had to cut the radio. No. Look. Hey, yo, we back. Yo, the strangest thing just happened again. Like with my video yesterday. See, yesterday I ain't notice it because I just kept recording. But I caught it today, right? I'm about to bring y'all the next story because I'm gonna actually, like, well, y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna see in the next clip. But I just want to say this, though. Yesterday I went to go bring up this joint that Ceddy Nash said. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, the audio went out. Now, I ain't paying no attention to it yesterday. But today I caught it because I'm about to break another story to y'all. Actually, that Ceddy Nash actually brought up, and you know, I kind of feel where he was coming from, and I just wanted to give my extra thoughts on it. And then this video comes up right here. We gonna start it back from the top again. Let's. Cause I don't know what the fuck is going on. Well, let's get it though. We gonna drop it. I don't know what this dude Byron Blake is talking about. We gonna drop it from the top. You heard? Like, let's hear what Sut talking about.
The cop calling Crip has struck again. It's pretty obvious to me. It has been obvious all along, but I know that a lot of you who are on this YouTube, y'all just here for the information. I don't blame y'all for that part. Like, it is what it is. A lot of people come to YouTube to learn things, whether it's about crimes or how to fix a car or, you know, put together a table, anything.
Yeah.
But there are...
I agree with him. I agree with him on that. I agree with him on that one.
People like Ceddy Nash who come to YouTube to give information. Now, I don't see anything wrong with that either. The problem is when you start to label others and attack others based off of the information that they are giving when you are the same type of individual. The desire for content that will generate views, you got to keep in mind a lot of these people are trying to live off of YouTube. They got their Cash Apps up, they PayPals, all of these different ways for you to donate to the channel, aside from the fact that they are monetized channels because a lot of times they can't keep up the views to sustain a lifestyle off of what they are doing. With that said, you know, shock value, rage bait, race bait, all of these different things, you know, matter and are factors when it comes to generating views on these social media platforms. Ceddy Nash started as a person who was quote unquote giving game on the internet. He would come on, he would have his rag on his face, not even showing who he was. And it was pretty much just about giving people advice, you know, or giving his opinion on certain topics.
And I agree with him on that. I do agree with him on that. That's how I first seen Ceddy Nash. Now, the first clip, you'll see what I said and all that, but we gonna keep it going.
At some point, the ability to sustain views doing that type of content slowed down. And he started this whole paperwork thing where he is, exposing people for being rats and snitches, quote unquote, or just cooperating with law enforcement in general. And that is why we are here today. Today, I'm going to demonstrate to you how Ceddy Nash is exactly that type of person. Once again, based off of his own words. Ceddy has taken to the internet to tell everybody that he is the person who broke the news that young Dolph had a bounty on his head. We gonna cover this, and when I get done breaking this down to y'all, y'all will see how Ceddy has been fooling the entire internet and working with law enforcement himself the whole time. Let's dive into this.
Same old phone? Nah. Upgrade to the new Galaxy Z Fold 7.
I knew.
Now, yeah, before we get into this shit, again, Byron Blake is most definitely trying to expose Ceddy Nash for being a snitch, period. I guess the first tactic really didn't work with him saying the snitch shit on his brother. So now he pulling up everything. So again, like I said before, this is gonna bring a RICO case on Ceddy Nash, or it's gonna get him involved in cases because the way that is getting pointed out, and who knows who knows who paying attention to these interviews, because if he pointing this out, then that means a lot of other people is paying attention to these interviews. But let's get into this shit. You know what I'm saying? I said it before, I'm gonna say it once again. This boy is gonna bring a RICO case on Ceddy Nash, and he gonna bring a RICO case on 1090J. Mark my words. Real shit. But make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all share. We ain't asking for no money on. All we asking is for you to hit the button. You heard me? It's only right. I tell them to get with it, get lost. So look, we about to really take this hype. So come fuck with me. You heard? Come fuck with me. Let's get it.
That Dolph had a 6-figure bounty on his head. I was the one who broke that to the internet.
Right. So, number one, how did you get this information?
Can't tell you that one.
Yeah, but because you're street, right? Everybody
I'm in
knows
the streets.
you're in the street. So it's one of those things like when a crime happens, the streets always know.
Yeah, 100%. The streets talk. If you had a nephew that's square business, because when he walk in that room with the thugs and everything like that, he know to walk in with his chest out. He know to walk in with his head right here. He know don't back down from nothing. Swear or not. Those are the people who talking. The mamas are talking. The aunties are talking. They let know. Man, every hood got that one OG that know everything. Got that one mama that know how it started, how it began, and she'll even tell you how it's going in. These people want this stuff to stop.
So now, wait a minute. Now, let's look, I'm not going to go into too much debunking, but damn, maybe I should make a marker. I'm going to start doing other shit, right? This just give me an idea. Just bear with me, y'all. But I don't know if you heard it, but I damn sure heard it, right? The nigga asked him, how did he hear about it, right? And he telling you right there, the streets talk, niggas' mothers talk. They a part of the streets, right? Even though they not in the streets, but they a part of the streets. So, family talk. So if they spreading news, then how could you say that he wrong? he ain't probably get it from no street nigga, like how he said. He might have not got it from no OG, but like how he said, the streets do know a lot, and that's real shit. But hey, don't let that shit go over your head right there. Let's get back into it though, and let's listen to what Byron Blake explanation is for him saying that, and if he heard what he said, and if he gonna break it down the way I just broke it down. Let's get it.
What you just heard was Ceddy Nash giving a breakdown of his open source reporting. He said that he was the first person to tell the internet he broke the story that young Dolph had the bounty on him. When asked how he received that information, he basically said that he got it from the streets.
Yeah. Okay, so he heard that.
That's third party snitching.
Listen, nigga. He, all right, so you got that. You got that shit too. So it didn't go over your head, Byron. But like, you got it too. You understand that too. You understand what he said. Well, let's continue. So we both agree on that. Okay.
That's very similar to 1090 Jake saying guys in prison gave him the information and he brought it to the internet. Said he was giving information about what was going on in the streets and he brought it to the internet. As I've said before, when doing these investigations, the government, the state, they have started to rely on open source reporting because they know that a lot of these guys on YouTube are actually speaking on information that they learn from the streets. They know that this has become a thing, being valid, being
But wait though, I'm gonna keep it real. Look, we gonna put this whole joint up. Actually, we gonna really react to this whole shit, this whole video, because I'm gonna grab it. Because why the fuck do we got little dirt paperwork up here right now? I don't know. I could be bugging. I could be tripping. But let's continue this. Byron Blake got little dirt paperwork up here right now. Why? Like, what the fuck does this got to do with Ceddy Nash snitching on Big Juke and Young Dolph suspects? Because that's the title of this video. But let's keep it going, though, right? Let's keep it going.
Has gone so far that people are actually talking about real street business on YouTube. And so, you know, their job then got easy. They sit back and they watch the open source reporters speak. A good example would be this or the allegations that Lil Durk had a bounty on Quando Rondo. As y'all can see, that actually made it to the paperwork. When the Young Dolph case was being covered, one of the main headlines was that
First, we offer overnight boarding. Your cat will stay overnight in your sitter's home and not only be treated like part of the family, but
Big Juke had allegedly.
Look, but I'm saying, all right, good. We're gonna keep it going.
Placed $100,000 bounty on Young Dolph. The prosecutors were pushing this point, and this is because the police had offered this as a motive for why he was killed. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but throughout this trial, they never brought in a single witness who testified that they heard about this bounty on the streets. I mean, like a member of the community from Memphis. Nobody, to my knowledge, if I missed something, let me know. But I don't recall them having a witness take the stand from Memphis who was saying, yeah, I heard this information and I told this to the police. This was all information that the prosecutors learned from the detectives, and the detectives learned this through their own investigations. That's how I heard it. Every time the topic was mentioned, it was always through my own investigations that they learned this, or through confidential informants that they learned this information. What Ceddy Nash is doing is open source reporting, which is basically gathering and analyzing this information, this publicly available information, and using it to fuel his own investigations. He's basically acting as a police officer. He gets this information from people on the streets. He puts it with other information that he can find online and other evidence that he's able to find. He puts it all together. He reaches a conclusion. He then creates his own presentation, brings it to YouTube, and, shares it with the world. That's open source reporting. What the police do, the actual police, the detectives, is called open source research. And that is the practice of getting online and looking through the videos of guys like Ceddy Nash or 1090 Jake or Trap Laura Ross for information.
Yo, but I'm gonna keep it real. At the end of the day, right? You doing the same shit right now. You doing the same thing, aren't you? You are doing the same thing that Ceddy Nash is you supposedly doing. You doing the same thing, bro. I don't understand what makes you so different from what he doing when you doing the same thing. You allegedly, this person allegedly did this person allegedly did that. Real shit. That's just like how you pulling this shit up right here. It's already public knowledge, but you putting the paperwork right in front of niggas' faces, and you circling shit out in this paperwork. You circling certain points out in this paperwork. So what you doing? I think you doing the same shit, bro. I'm saying, like, hey, you doing it so you could get your views up. You doing it so you could get your money off of this and all that. Granted, you ain't asking for nobody for no money. Just like how we ain't asking nobody for no money on. We just want them to support us and hit that button. Like real shit. Like, hey, but I don't know. Maybe I could be seeing it in a different way. But let's continue.
That they can present to prosecutors. So you have the open source reporting, which is done by the quote unquote street reporters. And then you have the open source researching, which is done by law enforcement when they want to use these guys as sources or foundations for the information that they plan to present in the courtroom. Now, here we have Ceddy, who has adamantly denied calling the police in the situation that led to his brother and others getting arrested, despite the fact that we have the police report saying that reports were made of shots fired in the area, that it was a call, and that the complainant or, person who made the call is Cedric Adams, age 24. We have the document. He hasn't went and produced any other documents to demonstrate that that's not what happened.
Damn, son, this dude brought that shit back up. So he just keep reiterating the same thing over and over and over and over. Like, it's just the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, with 1090 Jake, I ain't even get into 1090 Jake shit. And I don't know. Like, but with the Ceddy Nash shit, he keep doing the same shit over and over and over and over. Now, I don't know. You took that clip of him saying that, and then you said the same shit. He said the streets was talking. So the same way that the police got their information, that's how he got his information, from the motherfucking streets. But hey, maybe I could be wrong, but don't let that shit go over your head. Real shit.
Despite all of that, though, he continues to, portray himself a certain way and call people out for being snitches, or, he's built this entire platform off calling people out for being snitches to a degree. And yet, it seemed to go right over everybody's head that he just admitted to working with law enforcement in the young Dolph case. Now, I'm not saying that Ceddy is wrong for what he did, because that all comes down to a person's moral code and compass, and everybody has their own. But what we cannot deny is the fact that he did some open source reporting. He takes credit for doing the open source reporting and being the first person to break that news. He takes credit for being the person to break that story. However, he continues to deny that he works with law enforcement, that he is what some people would call a snitch.
I gotta get this motherfucking gnat out of here.
We have clear and convincing evidence that the police are doing open source research. I've broken down to you what open source reporting is. I've broken down to you what open source research is. As y'all see here, when they mention open source research, they don't mention talking to confidential informants. They saying Amazon Music articles, Billboard Music articles, LA Times. They are looking through media outlets. Open source research is them looking through media outlets. The open source reporting is the information that's made available through the media outlets. The very same information that Ceddy Nash takes credit for bringing to the world is the same information that the police used to, launch their investigation. Based off of the fact that this quote unquote rumor was floating around, the police knew what to look for. So when they got these phones and all of this other evidence, they were already locked in on looking for some information that could confirm that this was a hit allegedly sent by Big Jook. It's like calling the tip hotline.
All right. He just said that Ceddy Nash he has admitted to working with the police. And when that in that clip, I don't see that. I disagree with that. And then again, now you're saying that when they went through the phones of these people, right, including Big Jook, right, that they found the evidence in their phone that it was a hit put out on Son. Now, we know that whatever information that Ceddy Nash got was a little wrong because Son said 60. Because that's what he heard, right? Through the grapevine. He heard it through the grapevine. That Son has put 60 on him. But that was wrong because it was really 100. Or whatever the case may be. We still don't even know what the exact price was until everything really unfolded and then niggas could really get whatever the case may be or whatever. See, I don't know about all this. Y'all niggas be digging deep into shit, going to other shit, right? But I'm just giving my opinion on how y'all doing y'all shit, whatever the case may be, and whatever. Like, I don't know, but yeah, let's continue getting into it because hey, y'all all hear what he's saying and shit, right? So I don't know.
Without actually calling, you get on the internet and you say, "Hey, I just heard this from a reliable source in Memphis." And then before you know it, all of these bloggers who are looking for this shock value content, who want to do some quick views, they spread this information like wildfire. And I'm sure you can look up this information and find it everywhere. It was just a rumor at first, but then eventually this information made its way to the courtroom and was allegedly confirmed in trial. I say,
yo, but this is so at the end of the day, right? This is what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying. But if the streets, because niggas was already talking about it through such and such mans or whatever the case may be, if the trail, remember a trail could go long. So the trail went long, right? So whoever was the closest to be number 2 to the connection of the pipeline, that was the person that ran it. And then it got all through the streets. And then because Ceddy Nash is like a news reporter, whatever, that's what you want to call him. He a news reporter, right? Like, he got the news. Like, but it was still wrong news because it wasn't exact. But it was something to that degree, though. But let's keep it going.
Allegedly, because these guys still fighting for their life. They may come back on appeal and somebody may discover some information that shows that this was false. But as of right now, these guys are in jail And the prosecution's case was built around this $100,000 bounty that Ceddy Nash takes the credit for telling the world the news. Now, again, when he mentioned his source, he didn't say, oh, I got some police buddies that wanted to ask me if I could, you know, put some information out and help them gather some intel. He didn't say that. He said, man, people in the hood, aunties, uncles. Now, the information that's in the hood isn't.
He didn't say that he has police buddies. So if he would have said that he had police buddies that told him this and spread this information, would it have sound better? Would it have sound better? Let's continue. Let's continue.
Good. Once you bring it to the internet, it's no longer, you know, because when it's in the hood and it's floating around on the streets, they still got to have a person say it. You know, even if a confidential informant were to go in there and say, well, I heard they put a bounty on him, they would still need that person to come in and say it. Ceddy gave them that without them having to expose a confidential informant or, you know, a witness on the scene who may still live in Memphis and may be in some kind of danger as a result of putting this information out. He gave them a foundation to just say, hey, yeah, we heard that it was $100,000 bounty from open source reporting. This situation is a perfect example of how these guys get away with doing this type of stuff, because they do it right in your face. And because they not mentioned during the trial, or because they aren't called in to be a witness and, you know, say, yeah, I learned this information and then I put it on the internet and the police got it from me. Now, because they don't have to go through that process, a lot of people miss it. But if you look at the process, like I say, the detectives, they often reveal it. They say, yeah, we learned it.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to say it just like this, right? Just because your title, that shit is a lie in your title, bro. You need to change the title too, bro. I'm going to keep it real. Not just alone, like you lying in the title, right, bro? You lying in the title. That's crazy. That shit was been already said. Bro, I don't know, son. That shit crazy. This nigga's admits to snitching on Big Jew. He admitted to snitching on him.
Through confidential sources. A confidential source doesn't necessarily mean a person. Murders on YouTube, yet still deny being snitches or informants or working with law enforcement. When you look back at the timeline, it's even more obvious. Dolph was killed November 17th, 2021. By November 21st, 2021, Ceddy, who is the same person who claimed to have broke the news that he had a bounty on him, was the person on the internet saying, hey, this case is already solved. Suspects will be named soon. This is... Ceddy was an active investigator on this case. When you take all of this information and you put it together collectively, Ceddy was an active investigator. He's not a deputized detective or special agent or whatever you want to call it, but he actively investigated this case over the internet.
But I'm saying, though, you is saying that the nigga is a special agent. You call him a special agent, but he's not a special agent. Is he a fucking special agent, bro? Like, for real. Is he really one of them niggas, man? I want to what's up?
Probably made a few stops in Memphis or something or whatever, but he actively investigated. And that's what open source reporting is about. Just like Trap Lord Ross investigates when he makes his videos, just like 1090 Jake investigates when he makes his videos. This open source reporting thing has led to tons of
But I'm saying, I thought when, like, just like how he doing right now, like you listen. What I see it is like this, right? Like I said, if niggas didn't catch that, if they didn't catch that in the first time, if they didn't catch that, if people did not catch that the first time, right, then it's over for the game, because you pointing out things, right, that probably went over people's head. So even with that being said, like, you gonna bring people questioning him. You don't even understand what you doing. This is what I'm saying. Do you understand what you doing right now, Byron Blake? You gonna bring, fuck the internet, you gonna bring other shit down on something, like real shit. But hey, let's continue listening.
tons of charges. You know, 1090 Jake open source reported on the entire Florida Department of Corrections. And like I said, over 100 people were arrested and charged as a result of what he did with Florida DOC. We see here a clear example of Ceddy Nash open source reporting and actively involved in criminal cases. And that's what made it like really crazy to me when everybody hounded Trench's News, you know, but that's another thing.
What?
Trap.
Shall we continue?
Ross is who I believe the documents are referring to as far as the Lil Durk case and them saying, according to open source reporting, because Trap Lord Ross was pushing that line about them having a bounty on Quando Rondo. DJ Academics open source reporter, that's obvious from the Lil Durk paperwork and them talking about the interview and him being asked about the slide for Vine comments. These guys.
Now, don't get me wrong. See, it's like this, right? So they went on, like Lil Durk went on the podcast, and Academics asked the question, and that's not his fault that Lil Durk answered that shit at all. That's not Academics' fault that Lil Durk answered that shit. Real shit. Real shit. Especially if Lil Durk really don't be on the internet. Like some celebrities that's really on their shit, they don't pay attention to other shit. They don't know what's going on. They focusing on what they got going on. So what if he wasn't paying attention to none of that shit that was going on the internet? They didn't know that niggas was saying this shit and already running around saying it. And the nigga just answered it just on being on some real shit, not knowing. That was the shit that was gonna get him caught up. But let's continue though. Let's continue this shit though. You know what I'm saying? Hold your head, Lil Durk. You know what I'm saying? Hey, hold your head, Lil Durk.
Guys have an agenda with the questions that they ask. The scenarios that they create, they have an agenda with that. It's called investigation, but they calling it shock value and all. They acting like they just doing this to get good content that will generate views, but it's only a certain type of content that generates views. And I think more artists and people need to stop and realize that the reason this is generating the views is not because of you, it's because of what you saying.
Duh.
People can't believe that y'all going on these platforms and openly
Yo, exactly. This is what I'm saying. Look at your title. Now, this is what I'm saying. Look at your title. So, don't just think about it bringing attention from the people. It's bringing attention from the people. Real shit. Don't let that shit go over your head. Hey, yo, make sure y'all hit that like. Make sure y'all share the content. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all, if y'all want to be 10-toed down, hit that notification bell so you can always stick around. We ain't asking for no money, y'all. Only thing we asking for y'all to do is hit that button. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Murders or other crimes that are being actively investigated. They can't believe it. You know, shout out to AR Ab, but man, bro, prime example. So I wanted to bring y'all this video today and just give y'all a breakdown and show y'all what I mean when I'm saying, hey, in my opinion, these guys are police. Again, I can't say that they wrong. Young Dolph's family would like to have justice, you know, and I pray that all of these families that want justice get the justice that they want. But again, it comes down to people's moral compass and codes. I wouldn't call my grandmother a snitch, so I'm not gonna call somebody that's living like her a snitch. But
this is what I'm saying though. So at the end of the day, if you had already people breaking a story, like little people breaking a story, right? Like little people breaking it, like talking about this shit before everybody, it's because the streets was already talking. And hey, at the end of the day, they gonna hear, they gonna listen to it more from a bigger mouth. You know what I'm saying? A more credible source. Niggas ain't real believing the little accounts and shit that's saying that shit. So they gonna listen to a nigga like Ceddy Nash for real. So hey, but let's continue though.
Out here pretending to be a gang member, gang banger, and you know, you acting like you really from the hood, pressing the street line, and you calling other people snitches and rats, then I'm definitely gonna hold you to that standard. And that's what this is about. So hit that like button for me, you know.
Alright. And this is gonna conclude that, like, it is crazy though. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't know. Every time I got my joint set up and all that, and I do go to it, shit don't want me to. I don't know, but it's just like certain things though. How can we not address it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just giving my thoughts, my opinions on how I feel and what I view it, how I view it as. But I ain't gonna front though. Some reaching with that title and some reaching with this whole shit because the nigga ain't snitch. You said that the nigga admitted to working with the law. That's what you said. Then you said that he didn't. And I don't know which one it is, bro. Can you tell me, is he working with this law or is he not? Or y'all come and y'all drop y'all opinion in the comment section. Let us know. You know what I'm saying? But until next video, you know what I'm saying? I'ma see y'all. You know, I tell them to get with it to get lost. It's only motherfucking right. You know what I'm saying? No Other Way TV. We here to stay. Until next video, I'll see y'all next time. We out here.